Hello. So, I'm just recording to explain a point in my process so that others who are walking the same process or who will do so in the future will have this information, this background that they can support themselves with. So, during last year, I could see how, let's say I was walking my process and it was going very smooth. And there was a bump where happened, and I just fell into this low point where my application has dropped and it's been staying at that low level for a while. So if you ever feel like you're not feeling like yourself, that something's off, that something is wrong, I went to this point where I really did not understand what happened. I asked for people for support. One person said that because I was telling them that I was trying to focus on what happened in the past, and then they were telling me not to look into the past. So obviously that was bad advice, but that's the best advice they can give. And I know what they said is truth, is an absolute truth, that you don't want to get stuck in the past. The past is not who you are is right here, right now. And that is true, and I did apply that. But now, within looking, with this grander perspective now, having applied that, what matters is who I am here. What matters is the future, that motivation for me seeing the future, what I want to create. And that is something that I had as a child, which was in my past. But as a child, I saw the future of how I want things to be. So really, it's about a future-oriented mindset. What are we creating? What are we doing? So within realizing that point, within applying that advice of not focusing on the past, that is what I came out from that. That's what I got out of that. So within this point now, looking at the past, with an understanding, this point of who I am is the point where I'm creating myself in the future through the present moment. What I'm seeing as the reason for this bump is this point of giving up and discouragement within seeing someone who I apologize right now if the details reveal who they are. It's not my intent. My intent is to share this with the absolute point of what is best for process and for others to understand if they go through the same thing, so that they do not stay in as long as I do. So I place process first before anything else. Just like how I've done for so many years. So I saw someone who was applying themselves outwardly. They showed all the proof, all the evidence that what they were living in terms of their sharing who they are was standing, that they were clear who they are, they were walking their process, they were sharing, they were doing their points. Yet when I went to go see them, when I went to go see who they are and how they live in their personal life, it was a complete mess. And things that I would never have accepted and allowed for myself to live. Not even before process, things that were just indicative to me that there's no way that what they were saying, what they were showing outwardly, and what their application matched who they actually were and what they were living. It was complete separation. It's like a schizophrenia, a point of just not matching up. And for me, I held on to the points of what they shared and their supposed application of the process. I held on to that because for me, I could not understand or accept how a person could be so separate in what they're saying and what they're living. So I gave them the full benefit of the doubt, you could say. That maybe they're in a rough patch, maybe this, maybe that. And when it came to the point where it all just boiled over, because that is how someone acts. When you are of energy, and you are in the presence of someone who's actually standing in their application, your energy will rise. So that's what I suspect happened then. They went to the point of just absolutely rejecting me. Not in anything that I did, not anything that I said. This came out of nowhere. And for me, I was shocked and not understanding how and why. And I couldn't accept it for the longest time. I'm talking about up until then, till now, which is a year, pretty much. Because my self-honesty, I couldn't stand in my self-honesty with what I was saying. It is a point of naivety, being naive and believing that what people say is the truth, or at least to even say things to such an extent where supposedly someone supporting yourself, supposedly someone committed to yourself, supposedly someone giving your all, I guess, and to be that extreme. Because I've seen people who, what they show online matches who they are. I've seen that as 99% of people. That's pretty much everyone I know. What I see is what I say, I can see, I can perceive it. But to that level, that extreme, it's just, for me, it was impossible to accept. Almost as a point of integrity of, and they are pointing a point of integrity, and for me to question that would be wrong, or wrong of me to do that. And it's not even that point, it goes further than this. Everything I've said so far is one thing. The other thing is me seeing what the actual reality of truth would be, suffering at such an extent where I know they have all the tools, I know they have all the support, I know they have everything that they could possibly need, yet to stay in a point of constant suffering, constant self-inflicted suffering, and doing nothing about it. That was the extreme that I couldn't accept. And it's as if I was holding on to their supposed words of their principle. And as if that was a person that's just waiting to come out. As if that was just a person that is within all that. Because I've been through points where it's difficult, and I stand out of that, just like I'm doing right now. But I guess it was just the extremeness of it, this extreme possession, the extreme suffering, the extreme hypocrisy, the extreme contrast. Because I understand very well the everyday and average person of, yes, they're applying themselves, yes, they're not, but to have everything, then do absolutely nothing. And that for me reached into the point of questioning myself, questioning the power of the individual, of humanity. With everything that a person could possibly need, and they don't even stand. And for me, I always held on to this belief that everyone has potential. So for me, what I am seeing is that, how Bernard said, there are beings in the afterlife who are systems who never stood no matter what, because they were always just pure systems. That is to the extent of what I am seeing with this person. They are to such an extent a system that they will speak and share everything online as if they're completely walking, when who they are and actually in their living is complete suffering and compromise, and I cannot even do anything about that. Because they're not even willing to share and open up their compromise, their flaws at all. It's a complete, absolute dichotomy. That would be really a living example of a system, as Bernard is describing, where no matter the suffering they're going through, they simply will not stand. And for me, that is hard to accept. Yet the proof is always within the physical person and their physical life. That is why I'm not saying any names. That is why it's not about it being personal. That's why it's not about trying to help them. It's not about any of that. This is about understanding that this is what a person could be and could become, and this is the extent that they can get to. And it is always through trust in their actual physical process and application. If you go there into someone's life and you watch them and you see what they do, what they say, how they live, that is the proof of who they are. Because if you had someone who was in what they're doing, what they're saying, what they're living in their actual life, and you see them in what they're saying, you see their reactions in their voice, you see how they treat others, you see how responsible they are, you see all of that. I saw all that. I see it all the time with people in my life. You see who is standing without emotions, standing without feelings, standing without energy. You see that, and that's undeniable. So it's really never to place trust or faith within pure application in terms of how you present yourself online, for example, in your words, in your writing, your videos. That process is very important, and someone who is living integrity, someone who is living honesty, needs to live that and share that openly to support others. But when you're actually involving with other people, yes, that is the first step. You see how the application is online, and then in addition to that, which could override all of that, is their actual application, the physical. If you see them not actually applying at all, that is the truth of who they are. Especially when it's, well, And it's a weird, scary thing for me to basically essentially believe a kind of person exists and that that person never existed. It's scary for me in anyway, the point here is for yourself and your process and your application. My process and my application. To make sure that we don't fall within the point of believing who a person presents themselves online is who they actually are. And that at the minute you start seeing their physical application, that is who they actually are. And yes, it does take time for any person. For me, I took and gave the time. And that's how I always am. It takes a long process, many moments of seeing a person to understand who they are. And to not be afraid of someone who is a walking contradiction. And to not be afraid of being able to do nothing to help them. Because a person who's not willing to open up, a person who's only willing to live a contradiction and present a contradiction, has literally no door to reach them to. Because what can you do? You can't bring up any single thought they're having because they're not sharing it. You can't bring up any kind of reaction because they're not sharing it. You cannot intervene at all. And that is quite sad. And really the point is to not waste your time. The point is to remember and stick to your principles of what is real, what is true, and to hold on to that. Like how Bernard said, there are systems here in the physical people around us. They are absolute systems. And there are also some people with potential. And therefore, systems have no potential. At least insofar as you can decide or say anything, you might as well consider them to have no potential. It's not worth your time. So that's part of the process, a skill to develop, seeing who has potential and who doesn't. See who you're going to spend your time with and who you're not. Because it's one thing to have people in the system, in the world system that you're interacting with, because you have to, and etc. But when it comes to process, if you're supporting other people, if you're engaging with other people, you want to do it with people who are real. This is why we're here. We're not here to have fun or mess around. Some of the things I saw about the other person was their way to focus on positive energy and being happy and distractions. Accepting points of where they could step in to take responsibility and they didn't. And they just let things fall. Points of just pure raw energy, emotions. It felt like they were holding themselves up together, just barely, all around me as if they want to present themselves as good or something. Like it was way too much of an effort to hold up. And then they eventually had to let go. That's when all the reactions came out. And that's something that I do see as part of the process, that when you're actually sending, your presence will really bring out other people's reactions. Especially if they're living in such hypocrisy in the process. The point here is to understand for yourself your process. Everything you say and everything you do matters. People who are standing, they matter. And people who aren't, they don't really matter. Because who are the people that are actually going to help bring through change? Who are the people actually removing the systems within themselves? Who are the people that are actually preparing a way for children to live with support and without imprinting more systems upon them? Are we actually really going to clean up the mess? There has to come a point where there are those who are willing to stand up to no longer allow any systems, no longer have the systems allow the systems to have a say, to have the systems allow the right to defend themselves, have the systems to allow the systems to stop them from existing, from having power. Because life needs space and room to grow. Life needs the words. And obviously, self-honest words. Because that is the potential of us. That we say something, and then we do it. Remember and tell yourself that if you do not walk this process, you really are nothing. You will die either way. But to actually live, to actually be able to be someone that can say something and then do something, that has an impact, that does affect others in a very deep level. And life will always find a way. And you will be tested. Farther and deeper than you could ever imagine. So if you ever find yourself in a situation like me, where you know that you're walking a process, everything was smooth, in terms of what you normally expect, ups and downs, but then something really gets to you. All I really could say is hold on and good luck. Because all you really can do is hold on until you reach a point where you can crawl out of it. But within that, you stand again within yourself, your integrity, your words, which you know that self stands alone and absolute, equal to everything and all that exists combined. Because integrity matters. Your word matters. All of it matters. You will be tested. And good luck.